Okay, so today's show is very important, and we're going to compare prices to actively save money. And these days, it's easy to do that. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode on this channel, the Save Money and More channel. How you doing today? Hope as always that this audio video finds everybody doing well. I still love uploading at 5 a.m. Let me know in the comment section below how do you enjoy listening or even just sitting down and staring into space with your cup of coffee first thing in the morning. I am so honored and I'm so humble. So I'm going to mention some prices here. There's absolutely no judgment, but I'm going to mention some prices of average things. Then we'll take it from there. So I just want to get my trusty notebook to the right place. All right, so I ran a search on here to find out in New York City, I want to get like a more or less average price. In New York City, a standard manicure, pedicure, okay. What is the price range for that? It could be anywhere between $35 to $65. And of course, it all depends on the location. It all depends on maybe you may ask for a little bit of an extra this or an extra that, or purchase some other item while you would just happen to be there or whatever. So standard mani pedi runs from anywhere between $35 and $65. All right. And of course, the prices are varied and they are based on the location, the actual salon, and the specific uh, services that you require, okay, at the time. All right. So this is, again, no judgment, just mentioning numbers. You may want to take note of how much does it cost in your neighborhood for such a thing. Just look it up. Next, the price of pizzeria pizza. Okay, now I'm gearing this towards the areas in Manhattan. Okay, so prices of pizzeria pizza and a slice. And what just want to mention a slice, and it's always wise to go by trying a slice of something first instead of going for the whole thing. If you don't like the way the slice tastes, then you don't need to buy the big one only to find out like, oh, I really don't like that pizza, right? Or you may be smitten over it and fall in love with it and say, yeah, this is really good and I want this pizza. And that's totally fine. Again, no judgment, just an option. But a typical slice today in Manhattan of pizza ranges from $5 to $7 in some places, okay? And it could be a little more costly if you happen to add other extras like in any other place. For example, let's say I would like to get just a plain cheese pizzeria pizza pie, okay? That is approximately $28.31. While, for example, in the same restaurant, if I just want to add a simple topping like pepperoni, it would be closer to $33.76. Again, choices, choices, choices. I didn't look up the coffee because we talk about coffee all the time and you know where that's approximately at. However, a person can actually still in some places off of those little impromptu little coffee wagons, if you're really really lucky, and it all depends on the location, I've seen them as low as $1 for a small. And when I say small, I mean small, okay? Not like when you go to those fancier places which calls what I call tall, but they call it small. But that's another show. But if you're really lucky, you could still luck out. All right, now I'm going to move on to the category of apartment rentals. Apartment rentals. Now this is in the borough of Manhattan, and this is according to a website, apartment rentals, according to a site called Rent Hop. Rent Hop, okay? And this is as of this year. But of course, it could always vary by the time you get to listen to it. Okay, maybe it'll go down, maybe it'll go up, and who knows anymore? Okay, who knows? Um, right now, for example, a typical studio apartment, studio, not a one bedroom, a studio apartment is typically about $3,720 for a studio rental. Okay, however, the median rent for all apartment types in the city, like all, like an average, for example, would be in the $5,095 range. Okay. However, it could also be, let's say a person decides, a person or obviously a group of people decide to go for a 4 bedroom unit, which God bless you to find such amounts of space. But 4 bedroom unit can even actually, it could even reach as high as about $9,250. Again, no judgment. And by the way, many people are going to ask, well, what about a 1 bedroom? One bedroom typically can go in the borough of Manhattan, usually is what I'm referring to here. 1 bedroom could be about $4,650. There are always exceptions to the rules. There are always situations. The thing to look for if you want to keep your costs down would be a very much sought after item that is called a rent stabilized apartment. Okay, where the rents can't go through the roof, if you will, and there's a certain control. Some areas which used to be extremely, very, very costly seem to be more reachable for some people. Even Yorkville even went down a little bit in price comparison throughout the whole city. Now, here's what I want to suggest. There are a lot of people that want to be close to the city so as not to have to spend the entire week just traveling to and fro. I get that, or live in a two fare zone in the city, which requires, let's say, a bus and a subway ride, two literal methods of transportation in the morning, and then two literal methods of transportation in the evening to get home. That is very costly. When I was teaching, I went through that two fare zone nonsense in the borough of Queens, for example. If a person, some areas of Queens, some areas of Brooklyn, to getting to and fro, it could really, really add up. So then, what some people do is they add up the savings, for example, on all their methods of transportation, and they would, instead of traveling all week long, they find a way to be able to get to and fro work easily and more directly and less costly. That's one option. Okay. That is one option. Another option, if you want to remain close to the city while paying through the roof, you could always literally just jump in a car and just ride through a tunnel to the neighboring state of New Jersey. Okay, and some areas in Jersey which has extremely easy access to Manhattan would be in, for example, Jersey City. So Jersey City is very, very quickly and directly connected to Manhattan. And a lot of people do that. They want to be near the city. They want to look at the skyline, and it's gorgeous. In certain sections of Jersey City, you get an ample, beautiful view of that at a much more affordable thing. Of course, you could always be one of those people that are blessed that have been here since forever ago and were wise enough not to keep moving and moving and moving and moving. Because every time a person moves out of a unit, guess what? The rent goes up. That's just how it works. Rent's not going to go down. In that case, it's going to go up. Everything I mentioned is, no judgment at all. But the reason I'm mentioning all of these prices is for a reason. We do live in a world of choices. Like I just outlined, a person could be close to Manhattan, still have the benefit of just like a quick drive, or just jumping on one train to get from, let's say, even the neighboring state of New Jersey, and before you know it, they could even just go through a tunnel and they're in Midtown. They're in the heart of the theater district, very close with the Lincoln Tunnel, right next to the theater district. So there's really no excuse. There are ways and there are ways. A person, for example, I mentioned all those prices of the pizza. Okay, a person can take a chance and spend $33 on a pizza and say, I'm really not that impressed. Or they could decide to try a slice of it at $5 to $7. And if you like it, great. If you don't like it, oh well, too bad, so sad. There are ways and there are ways. A person can do their own mani-pedi at home for a fraction of the cost. Buy all you need with an upfront fee for your at-home use and utensils. A friend could do it for you, or you could do it yourself. And you don't have to spend between $35 and $65 and more, not including the cost of your ride to the salon for your mani pedi. You see where I'm going with this? A person can stagger a haircut. Instead of getting a haircut every 4 weeks, you could trim your own hair slightly to tide you over an extra 3 to 4 weeks, and you will have reduced the frequency of needing that haircut and saving a ton of money throughout the 12-month process called a year. Anyway, no judgment, just mentioning prices, just mentioning options. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate everybody's time. Don't forget to come back every single morning at 5 a.m. for a brand new upload. Let me know in the comments section below if you can figure out ways that you save money in your local neighborhood on manicure, pedicure, rentals, this, that, or whatever. Just throw in your 2 cents, which is actually worth way more than 2 cents in my book. It's a very valuable thing. We love your tips and tricks. Thank you so much for sharing. Have an amazing, fantastic day. Take good care of yourself and your wonderful family. Thank you. Don't forget, super thanks are forever welcome. Thank you.